Welp. Another defeat for the San Jose Sharks. I'm not sure if we could blame it on stealth jerseys anymore, but we'll break down this one. How Vancouver comes out with a 5-2 victory over the San Jose Sharks. Right now, this is Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday night, December 16th, 2021. The San Jose Sharks lose to Vancouver 5-2, and I think we all have that same face that Logan is showing right now. So let's break it down here on Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks postgame. We do this after every game, so do yourself a favor. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button down below. But if you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. Follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, and find everything at tealtownusa.com. And with that, I say good evening, everyone. Alongside Ian Vlogs Hockey, I am PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. Ian, hi, bud.
Hello.
Oh boy, I preparing ourselves. This might be an interesting one here. We should also mention we have our new poll question feature up, which was hastily put together by yours truly, and it reads: what do the Sharks need to improve on? Secondary scoring from wingers, goal support for Hill, or the power play. So make your votes right now. We'll get to it later on in the program.
Yes. Do the Sharks need goals, or goals?
I knew that.
You
was
tell
coming.
us.
Let's get to this, shall we? I mean, the NHL debut for Jayden Halbgewachs, which seemed to get.
I'm just gonna call him Halps, and that's gonna be a thing.
Well, here's the thing. Our buddy Kevin Lacey said that a lot of the nickname for him, if you want to, call it, I guess in the CUDA crowd, is Scrabble, because his name would get you 25 points.
I like it.
I wish he had 25 points in his NHL career, but oh well. Moving onward. First period, I thought, overall, I thought the Sharks did everything but score early on, especially came out dominant early on shots, 5-0. I mean, things looked promising, and then, Brock Besser scores to make it 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, there was things in this game that I liked, and then they slowly got taken away. I thought, considering the start that the run that Canucks are on, I thought the Sharks started okay. I didn't really mind this goal, right? I know a lot of people are really pissed off at Jayden Hill right now, and I'll get there. But this goal I didn't really hate. I thought it was a really nice shot. But I mean, obviously, again, a lot of people have pointed this out. I'm not like a rocket scientist for this thing, but it seems like if you shoot a puck at the glove hand side of the net and Jayden Hill is the one guarding the net, it might go in. And that's not, I'm not going to pretend this is like some revolutionary take or anything. But, obviously look at I think the book, again, you get so many games and then the book starts to come out on goalies, and then the good goalies are the ones that can take the book and kind of rewrite it over and over again. And that's what separates the good goalies from the mediocre ones. For the most part tonight, I didn't love Hill's game, but I didn't hate it either. It was fine. It was just fine. Now that last goal, we'll get there. That, let's not talk about that yet. We'll get there. But for the most part, he was fine. The problem is this team, fine isn't going to be good enough for this team.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be.
Well, no. Look at Fine can get you plenty of places. Like, here's the thing, right? You can't. I mean, yeah, you can beat up on Hill after tonight, but like, guys have to put the puck in the net. Like, like the difference between what's the difference between this game and last game? Yeah, last game you got better goaltending, but it was still the same result.
Right.
Right? Like, goaltending is only going to get you so far. And Aiden Hill didn't, I don't think, up until the last goal, I don't think Aiden Hill took the Sharks out of this one. Was he great? No. But he's, like, expect your goaltending to be just great or, above, spectacular every night. Like, I don't know what other teams you're watching, but I don't think you're going to get that from any team in the league.
No.
But if you're not going to give either of these guys goal support, then it doesn't fucking matter how good the goaltending is.
Exactly. You hit it on the head. You can have a great performance like Reimer did the other night, or you can have it where the weak goal goes off and you have people talking about, well, his glove hand is meh. I mean, just looking on the super slow-mo replays, his glove is getting up there as the puck is already past him.
Yeah, he's got a, I don't know what it is. And like, again, like, I don't want to turn this into like a beat on Aiden Hill fest, because I don't think, like, again, he was fine tonight. Was he great? No. But again, like, you're not going to, great goaltending is only going to get you so far if you can't put the puck in the net. And that's the bigger issue for the Sharks now. Now, obviously, how do you fix that? I don't know. I mean, there's options. There's options that I sure as fucking can advocate for.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it just seems like they can make these games more interesting. Not going to say they can win, but make them more interesting. I mean, with a little bit of effort. We'll get into that a little bit more later on because, I thought Tuesday night when I was at the game, it was lackluster.
Last game, the Seattle game was atrocious.
Yeah, I thought that they showed very lackluster. They probably looked at the record and went, "We got this. This is nothing."
Well, I mean, and like the Sharks are in any position to be able to look at the schedule and go, we can mail this one in. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the Seattle game was a disaster, and I think, my thoughts after the Seattle game kind of was, well, like, okay, big, but are Seattle a team that you're going to have to fight for a playoff spot with, right? No, probably not. So it's like 2 points that, yeah, you gave 2 points to Seattle, but is it going to matter in the grand scheme of things? I mean, yeah, you probably want those 2 points for yourself, but it's not like, it's not the 4-point swing, right? Which is what I think the Sharks have to be worried about in this stretch going forward. I mean, these are important games, hugely important games. You can't, like, they're not going to make the playoffs in December and January. You can sure as fuck miss them by the end of January.
Yeah. And these little tendencies, this is, I guess it's like the dog days of, well, we're still in fall technically, but the dog days of winter where you can get into that middle part of the season where you haven't hit the halfway point, you haven't hit the Christmas break or the All-Star break or Olympic break or what have you, where you kind of lose focus. Maybe you're distracted with holiday shopping. You're in the middle of a long homestand. I mean, I don't know. But, like Grand Desir said, Sharks Untitled taking games for granted. And I thought they took this one for granted. They took Tuesday night for granted on two games where they needed to at least be getting 2 points out of one of these, if not more.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to get 2 points. I mean, that's all there is to it. Like, this stretch is so important. And that's why I'm frustrated now, because, like, before, you could take things out of games and you'd be like, oh, well, this was positive and this was okay. And look, we've done that a lot this year,
Right.
We've tried to look at the positive, because I don't want to just sit here and just shit on everything all the time. Like, it's easy. Probably I'll jack the numbers up because everyone loves being pissed off. But I've tried to find silver linings and positive things, right? And I know there's a lot of, like there's a lot of in the chat right now about Aiden Hill. And look at, I'm not trying to defend Aiden Hill here, but I think this isn't like last year where the Sharks got the goals and then Martin Jones just let in more.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's more problems here than Aiden Hill. Like, is Aiden Hill a problem? Yeah. Is he the problem? No. Right? And that's the difference. And like yeah, exactly. Like, it's an important homestand. You got 7 home games. Right?
Yeah, you're not leaving the state till after the new year.
I don't like. There's no excuses for any of this.
Yeah, and like on the broadcast tonight, they were talking about Jayden Halbgewachs a bunch of times.
Let's talk about Halbs actually, because that's probably the one positive. Like I really liked his jump.
Yes.
No, but I liked his jump. Like I really liked his jump this game. Like I thought he really acclimated himself well to the NHL. I didn't think he looked out of place. And something that I really, really liked about him, man, is I like the stones on this kid. This kid was shooting the puck whenever he could. Like all he wanted to do was shoot the puck, which is awesome because a lot of guys, when they come up, man, you don't want to ruffle too many feathers. And, a lot of guys, they'll be more cautious. Like, oh no, maybe I should, why am I going to shoot this puck when I should probably give it to Hurdle, right? No, Halbgewachs like, fuck that shit. I'm shooting the puck.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
It's kind of similar to like Erik Karlsson, who's taken that sense like, I need to shoot the puck more. And look what's happening for him.
Like I thought he looked really, really good. I was really impressed with him. I thought he brought a lot of speed to the lineup. And again, I just like the fact that he was, he had the stones to just want to shoot the puck and just didn't defer. Because obviously you want to come into a new situation, right? Obviously you want to make a good impression in the NHL.
Yeah.
And, obviously you don't want to, you want to make sure you kind of pick your spots to shoot. But I thought he picked all the right spots to shoot.
But yeah, I thought he didn't try to force it. He definitely tried to make some plays. I don't want to get overly optimistic, but there were like little hints of Eklund in there where he's trying to create some plays, trying to get pucks on net, trying to make something go, and it was nice to see. I loved his speed, but most importantly, Ian, I didn't think he looked like he didn't belong on the squad. He looked like he can compete with the team.
Yeah, I thought I agree. I thought he looked really good. When you look at some of the other lineup choices, like how a guy like Lane Pedersen continues to find his way into this lineup.
How?
Like it was nice to see. I don't know. I mean, it's because again, like what are the other options? I don't know. I mean, I would like to. Maybe it's time you try everything, right?
Yeah, because when I saw him in person on Tuesday night against Seattle, he was having such a tough time containing the puck. I mean, it's like hands of stone. I mean, no disrespect to the guy, but I mean, I think I could stick handle a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, like I don't know, man. There's certain things like, and I saw in the chat too, and I'm trying to keep talking. The chat's moving like crazy tonight, so I'm trying to keep track of everything. Like at what point, at what point do we talk about coaching? Oh, coaching is definitely an issue. The problem is here's the problem, right? And again, maybe I'm not approaching this the right way anymore. But I think I spent a lot of time last year just bitching about things, right? And that's fine. I mean, that's what happens.
Last year sucked.
Last year sucked for sure. But some of these things, like, is it worth continuously bitching about something that's not going to change?
Yes, because if it's such a bad situation, then yeah, it needs to be called out.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you're probably right. I mean, like, I've never been a Bob Boughner guy. I think anyone who's been around for a long time knows that I am not a Boughner guy, but I just don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think that. I mean, if you want to, dig the hole deeper, does Doug Wilson really get to fire another coach? How many coaches does Doug Wilson get to fire?
Yeah. I mean, he's at what? 2 plus one that mutually agreed to part ways, if you even want to call
So
that.
they say.
Yeah, so they say.
I don't know. Yeah, look at. Yeah, and that's it, right? And it's like, Ricky, positivity. Am I on Team Tank or not? Here's the thing about Team Tank, right? Like, at the end of the day, like at the end of the season, if everything sucks and we get a good draft pick, that's like the reward for having a shitty season. I don't want like. Even last year, I didn't go into last year being like, man, I hope these guys lose every fucking game so that I can, just be miserable when I stay up until 1:30 in the morning to watch this team, completely suck and have a Detroit season. Like, I don't want that. No one should. Like, I don't. It's all good to like when the season's over and be like, yeah, good, everything sucks and we get a good draft pick. But like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want to come in with I don't want to stay up every night with the expectation that, yeah, man, they're gonna get shelled.
Yeah, see,
that's gonna suck, right? Like, I don't want to watch that. Does anyone like?
No.
I guess I understand the Team Tank philosophy, right? And maybe it's better, but like Team Tank this year has a lot of really scary applications. Like, there's going to be real consequences if the team sucks this year. Right? Like, I'm going to probably watch one of my favorite players get traded to another team. I don't want that. Now, is it better business? Is it good business? Is it probably the right thing for the Sharks, like, going forward? It could be, right? You get more draft picks, you get more capital, whatever. You've got some really horrible contracts. Again, how many coaches does Doug Wilson get to fire? Right. But
in
the moment, like, I don't want the team to suck. I want the team to be competitive. I don't want to feel like I'm wasting my time watching the team.
And that's part of the thing too, is they're trying to feel a competitive team when they know they need to rebuild and to keep them relevant. I mean, again, I'm looking at Curtis Pachelka's suite. This is probably the lowest one I've seen, 10,340 for the attendance tonight, or at least tickets sold.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting closer to under 10K for the first time. This team is 30th in attendance.
Well, yeah, I mean, and look at, right, and we can all argue like what the reasons for that is, right? And I'm seeing what Sheila's saying in the chat about, obvious problem wanting Wilson out is who do you replace him, right? That's the crapshoot. But like, there's things like, even with some things that have gotten better, like I think drafting has gotten better.
Yeah.
But are we doing any better on the development side? I don't know. I mean, I know the Barracuda won 10, like they scored 10 goals today. So obviously everything's all better on the development side, but I'm not convinced, like it's going to take more than a 1-10 goal game for me to be like, oh yeah, everything, development's great. Everything's good there.
They've given up 31 goals in the month of December.
Yeah.
Yay, you scored 10 and congratulations on that. But here's the problem. What's your record? Well, this you said on Twitter, how does that improve development?
Right. And I know I just kind of expected some pushback on the development front, because sometimes people do knee-jerky things, right? They just react on the knee-jerk. So it's like, oh, you didn't talk about the development not being good, but they just won 10, this shit happens. Yeah. This shit happens all the time. I don't know. Now I've kind of lost my train of thought here. So, I mean, there's some things on this team that I wish would just get an overhaul, right? Like, I would love for somebody to take, a deep and look at the Barracuda and, and give it an honest look. Right. Yeah. And there's certain things under Doug Wilson that still continue to happen. Right. And again, I don't know the reason why people stop showing up. I think there's a lot of reasons. I think there's, and I think we could argue all night about which is the reason. And I think it's obviously it's not one thing. It's a bunch of things, right?
Yeah.
But is faith in this front office have anything to do with attendance being down? I think it would be ignorant to say it doesn't, has nothing to do with it. No, everyone loves Doug Wilson. This is none of those people, none of the people that don't like Doug Wilson are voting with their wallet right now. Like, it's probably a factor. It's not everything. Just like it's not everything. It's not because of COVID or vaccine policies or blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. It's not one thing. But is that part of it? It probably is.
Yeah. It's a little bit of everything,
Right.
and it's who's the star on this team. Couture, he only has 9 goals and he's been here and there. I wonder if something's up with him. Hurdle, yes, he's go ahead.
I don't know. I think Couture's been fine. I think the problem right now is that the supporting cast isn't good enough. And so it's easy to point at a Couture or a Hurdle and be like, well, they clearly aren't doing enough.
Well,
I think they've done their share. I think the Hurdles and Coutures and Meyers have done their share. I just don't think they have the supporting cast.
Yeah, everybody else is having issues. I think we heard it on the broadcast tonight. Sharks wingers that are not named Meier and Dahlin have 9 goals on the season with 7 players. Then you add Meier and Dahlin, they add 20.
Yeah.
I mean,
again,
obviously,
like I said, I think there's a ton of factors, and I'm not, and again, going just in the chat here quickly, like I'm not saying that, I'm not looking at the vaccination policy and being like, this is why people aren't showing up, right?
No, you can't.
Are there some people that might be not showing up because of that? Probably, but
and it's
aren't
tough.
The Warriors under the same restrictions?
Pretty much.
So there you go, right?
And you saw a bit of a trickle in Montreal tonight, playing with no fans, and they're going to be going to partial capacity in the near future. I think I heard Toronto also is going to partial.
Montreal had no fans in the building tonight.
Yeah, and I heard Toronto might be going to 50%.
Toronto's going to 50% capacity. That is a thing that's happening. So will the Senators, because that is, I think, all Ontario, throughout the entire province, which is the province I live in, Ontario, for those that don't know, they are anything that holds over 1,000 people down to 50% capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's that. And granted, Toronto wasn't selling out themselves either.
Toronto's always sold out.
Yeah, and Toronto's always sold out, but because
they're all corporate, because the lower bowl's all corporate seats, so they're always sold. Doesn't mean there's people in them, but they're sold.
Right. I mean, but getting back to here, the Warriors are looking pretty good. In having attendance, Steph Curry.
Yeah, they're not having attendance issues. So
the Niners are playing to full crowds at Levi's, just 10 minutes away. It's the thing. I mean, yes, 1, it's winning. Granted, they're over 500 still. 2, it's where's your star player? Where's that player that's bringing them into the building? I mean, that's kind of disappeared over the last couple of years, and we know who we're talking about, and it's not they were both, all 3 were former Canucks. I'm talking about 2, and they had a number 1 to begin their number with. In 3, you get these performances. They look like gangbusters against Dallas.
Yeah, good game against Dallas.
And then you lose to an expansion team in Seattle, and then you lose to a team that's actually made a change and has been on fire since.
This is 6 wins in a row for Vancouver. Yeah. So it's not like Vancouver has not been on a hot streak, right? Like, it's not like, if the Sharks played this game a week ago, then maybe, a week or 2 ago, then maybe we get a little more angry. But I mean, credit to the Canucks, Canucks have been good as of late. I thought, Demko made some decent saves tonight. And Brock Besser, was on his game.
Right. And Amy Vanderland saying, people have paid hand over fist for years filling the stands. I gave up my season tickets years ago because it wasn't worth the money to watch them lose when I can do that for free. And that might also be the other thing too. It's like, yeah, you got the 2016 run, but there were so many times that this team has fallen apart when.
And look at I saw the thing you brought up there from Amy in the chat, and then look, and again, that's what I'm saying, right? When you look at attendance, right, and it's not a lot of people. Again, there's probably some faith issues in the direction of the team, and who's responsible for that?
Right.
Front office. Who's in front of the front office? Doug Wilson.
Yeah. Something needs to give, but there's also got to be some form of patience. And because this team is trying to push to
But
get
here's the
butts in
question though,
seats for the
right?
playoffs.
But here's the question, and I've asked this 100 times. Does the guy, should the guy who made the mess automatically get to fix it?
And that's the big question. Because you fire it, but you fire him, and then you got somebody else who has to come in and fix this mess. And there's a lot of personnel that's very linked to Doug Wilson, not the least of which his son leading the scouting department, that are entwined
I think
there.
but again, like that's one thing that I would approve of, because I think the drafting for this team has been really good since he's taken over.
Absolutely.
But that's it. I don't know. All right, back to the game.
You and me both need to vent that out for sure. So let's get back to it. So Besser makes it 1-0. Couture would take a kneeing call, which I just thought they just got intertwined and it just happened to be knee on knee. But
I didn't think there was anything malicious on that hit. Like it was an unfortunate play. And was it a knee? Yeah. Was it intentional? Like, do I think Couture is going to get supplemental discipline? No, it was. Sometimes not all penalties are intentional. Like sometimes you high stick a guy because your stick gets checked. Your stick gets not lifted up and you accidentally stick a guy in the face with it. Yeah. Like, not all penalties are vicious plays. Like sometimes shit just happens, but it's still a penalty.
Yeah, which led to Bo Horvat getting his 10th from Miller and Quinn Hughes to make it 2-0 Vancouver. Granted, almost a minute exactly, Timo Meyer gets the Sharks on the board with his 12th from Carlson and Hurdle. Thank you for my fantasy team points. But Timo Meyer's 100th goal.
Yeah, good for him. I mean he's for a guy who's been kind of up and down. I mean, this year he's been on fire.
Yeah. And I don't think Demko even really saw the shot because he had a lot of traffic in the way. I think it was Hurdle in front. Hey, what a novel concept, putting butts in the front so they can't see it. Just a thought. Second period, Jayden Halbgewachs made sure to get his name into the scoring sheet as he takes a holding call. Thankfully, nothing went in the way for Vancouver that way. About halfway through the game, Tyler Myers takes a check to the head call on Jonathan Dahlen. What did you think of that one? Because I was like, why are you jumping? You're already taller than the guy. Why are you jumping?
Yeah. I don't really. Doesn't even stand out. It didn't really make an impression on me. So either I was on Twitter at that point, or I just didn't seem. Wasn't something that overly concerned me, I guess.
But then late in the period, Brock Boeser gets his second one to make it a 3-1 game for a period that the period was at I thought shot-wise, the Sharks dominated. And there was at one point like 8-0 in favor of San Jose. They ended up outshooting the Canucks 12-5, but the Canucks get the lone goal.
Yeah, and it sucks because right before that goal, I thought Adin Hill made a hell of a save, like a minute before the goal. And, I thought, like, I'm thinking to myself and I'm typing this out. And then, of course, the Sharks give up a goal. That, that save might matter because they, that was the one chance that Vancouver really had up until that point. And Adin Hill shut the door. And then, unfortunately, the next shot goes in, unfortunately, for the Sharks. So it's kind of all for naught. But I mean, that's the frustrating thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Sharks, I thought they were pretty good in the second period. And, one play, one turnover, and it's in the back of the net. Yeah. The one mistake they make in the period, it goes in the back of their net.
And that's the tough part.
Frustrating.
Yeah. And they played fairly well. Puck wasn't going in. Demko was having a great night.
Yeah, Demko, Demko to his credit, had a really good game, I thought. And, and again, like, And I didn't hate that goal. Like, again, it wasn't a goal that I hated. As far as, as far as goals go, I didn't go. I thought the first shot for sure, like, I thought that was a hell of a shot. The next two, I was kind of like, yeah, like, whatever, 50-50 shot. Like, I'm not super angry at Aiden Hill at this point. But it's frustrating that, like, what a momentum swing that was for the Canucks.
Yeah. I mean, because they carried the momentum in the third period. Again, I thought the Sharks kind of didn't have the oomph going for them in the third period. And then Cogliano, I love this play. He flips it over the Canucks defenseman's stick, picks it up, takes it in. Simple shot, goes 5-hole, scores, makes it 3-2. All of a sudden, there's your teaser goal again.
Yeah, big play, big goal. Like, again, like, that's what they need more of. They need more. They just need more offense, period. But I mean, that's what you want, right? Again, there's a guy on the bottom six which haven't given the Sharks nearly enough. And but in that situation, you get a big goal from the bottom six, which obviously helps. The problem is they need way more of that.
They need way more of that. They need way more goal scoring to kind of cover some of these. But in Cogliano, I'm looking at Pichelka. I don't know where AJ's at. Pichelka puts out a quote from Cogliano: "Our will to win need to increase here because we're playing teams that are in the same spot as us, and right now it's just not good enough."
No, it's not. I mean, it's this game sucked. Last game sucked. And the Sharks have shown. I think that's the hard part. That's the most frustrating part, because it's not like the Sharks have been a tire fire this year. They haven't been. Have they had some bad games? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But they haven't been a tire fire. So is this a game that the Sharks last year, so many games, you're like, yeah, the Sharks weren't going to win that game. And you just knew, right? That hasn't been this year's team. Mm-mm. This year's team has been competitive. Even at points where you think it shouldn't have been, they've still managed to somehow be competitive. That's the frustrating part of this game, because that team has disappeared the last two games. The team that manages to be competitive even when they shouldn't be, even when they're punching way above their weight class.
Yeah.
When they're, like when they're playing teams that are, like the Wild. When they beat the Wild, when they beat the Flames.
They look pretty solid. They looked like they were into this game. And tonight and Tuesday night against Seattle and Vancouver, I didn't see it. I didn't see it much. I mean,
yeah.
What did you think of the defense switch?
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. So look at. I think I don't think I need to tell everyone that Burns and Ferraro has kind of been that's been a tire fire. The team totally has been a tire fire. But that pair has been a tire fire of late. Like, they're getting absolutely caved in. So, but here's the problem, right? Here's the conundrum. Do you switch? Do you break up the one pair that's been really good?
Right.
To fix that problem? Or do you take your other two pairs that have been caved in? And I don't think the Vlasic-Šimik pair has been awful, but I think, but they're playing, I think they've been okay in sheltered minutes, because obviously Burns and Ferraro and Carlson and what the hell? Help me.
Middleton,
thank you. Have been eating the majority of the minutes, right?
Yeah.
So I was wondering if the play was, do you break up? Do you put, like, try putting Šimik back with Burns and put Ferraro with Vlasic? But I'll give Bob credit, because I don't think I would have. there's so few things going right with this team right now. Do you want to screw with the few things that are working right? Like I give him credit for putting Burns with Middleton and then Carlson with Ferraro. Like I thought that was a ballsy move, because with everything not going, like, you risked blowing up one of the few things that is working. And I thought both pairs are fine. It'll be interesting to see how long that lasts going forward.
It's interesting, and it's something to see down the road what's going to happen. And the other part too that I have with this loss for tonight, it's not like they're playing a game on Saturday. This team is off till Tuesday now.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Vancouver's got to play a back-to-back home games with Toronto and Arizona,
and then
come back down.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they go back up for a game, and then they go back down to play LA and Anaheim after that.
Yeah, I don't think it's Joel.
I mean, you could empty the tank a little bit here. Now, I don't know. I haven't gotten the email yet from Sharks PR, but now I want them to be on the ice, the whole week, the whole weekend, because you can't have this. You can't show up against then division leading Calgary. You played fairly decent against Minnesota. You beat Dallas, and then it's tough to look.
I don't know. Again, like they just have to be better. But this team. But I think the problem is because of how they've played games up to this point, we expect them to be greater than the sum of their parts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably part of the problem.
Yeah. Overall, they got destroyed in faceoffs, 57-43. Of course, the Canucks get 1 for 3 on the power play. The Sharks own power play. All right. The Sharks definitely hitting more. The 2-1, almost a 2-1 ratio in hits. Mario Ferraro has 4 blocks. Burns has 3 blocks. I'll give him that. But a 34 save performance from Thatcher Demko, who I think has been probably one of the main reasons Vancouver's been in it this whole time, even though they're like 7th in the division. I think he's been looking really solid there, but that's where you need to have solid goaltending. That's where you need to have that solid defense. Got to be better. You got to be better. You can't.
Yeah, so they need to score goals. Period. Like, at the end of the day, again, like, it goes back to what I said earlier in this show when I was a little more fired up than I am now. Like, all the goaltending in the world won't matter unless you're expecting like James Reimer to come back in, make 40 saves and put some pucks in the net too. Agreed. Not his own.
Yeah. You mean like Radim Shimmick? Yeah. So let's revamp the polls question here. What do the Sharks need to do to improve the most? 41
goals or goals.
Goals. Yes, I know. Stop it. Secondary scoring leads the way with 41%, followed by scoring from wingers. Goal support for Hill at 20, power play at 17. I'm surprised the power play didn't get more. Granted, they're middle of the pack though. So appreciate all of you jumping in on that one for sure. Scores wise, Edmonton. Okay, so this is what I want to ask you. Okay, before we get into this.
Okay.
What is it about throwing jerseys in Canadian markets?
It's the cool thing to do.
Toronto did that, then they went on a run. Montreal did it, then Bergevin got fired. Vancouver did it. They got their GM and coach replaced, and now they're on a 6-game winning streak. The other night, Edmonton had one thrown over.
Could you imagine, like, It's just it makes me laugh, like especially like when teams like okay, look at I understand that the Oilers were in a little bit of a skid, but I think like throwing a sweater on the ice is a little dramatic.
I mean, right? I think it's a little dramatic. Now,
It's
if
a
the
teeny bit dramatic.
now if you're the Coyotes, I mean, first off, that's a cool sweater, but
Yeah,
no, I
right.
mean, if anything, Arizona would be the one team I think you
Yeah,
could
like
get.
if you're like okay, listen, if you're look, my opinion's always been like if you pay your money, then you can do whatever you want within reason, right? Like
Right.
obviously throwing a sweater on the ice not great. I mean, obviously it's a safety thing. Like I wouldn't advocate for throwing shit on the ice, but like if you're like a Buffalo, like I understand for a fan base where your team has been absolute dog shit for a long time, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
just have like garbage season after garbage season after garbage season. Now look at the Oilers probably want to do something in the playoffs, right? Fair. But they're
Very.
going to get there. Like they're going to be there. Like maybe take it down a notch.
Well, it did work tonight because the Oilers beat the Blue Jackets 5-2. Jesse Puljujarvi with a pair of power play goals in that one. Uh, Going back up into the other scores, Sabres beat the Wild in a shootout 3-2. So no jersey throwing tonight.
Yeah,
Uh,
Felix, okay, yeah, I am talking about Canadian markets and look at if I guess I wish I had the disposable income where I could just chuck one of my sweaters on the ice, right? Like I wish I had that kind of disposable income. But I guess if you're, going to NHL games regularly, then what's a sweater? What's a
right.
jersey?
Right. So, let's see. Continue on. The
Sorry.
Predators won 5-2. No, you're good. You're good. And you fire away in the chat when you need to. Predators beat the Avalanche 5-2 as the Avalanche have a number of members going into COVID protocol right now. So Philip Forsberg with a pair of goals. Matthias Ekholm gets off the schneid. The Islanders win again in their new arena, 3-1 over the Bruins. Clutterbuck wasn't a cluster F with a pair of goals in that one.
Yeah, Boston's really angry though because they're wondering why
They aren't.
uh, uh, they are not playing. I saw some discussion on whether they should be playing or not. And I don't know if it's a situation similar to Colorado where Colorado was given the option to play or not play and they voted to play. I don't know if that's the situation there, but I know there's a little bit of annoyance in Boston right now.
With Bergeron and Marchand in COVID protocol, let alone the issues that they had in AHL Providence too. That's
Yeah.
a struggle for sure.
Mhm.
Hurricanes, who also have had an issue with it.
Who isn't right now? Like
I know, seriously.
this from like oh
Like
man, I
like Ian, I put up a poll question I think last week. Should we just take a pause, just get through the holidays, take a pause, and then come back?
I don't know. I'm afraid. Like cuz this all of this starting to really and I'm not trying to be a downer and I'm not trying to be like
No.
don't come after me on Twitter, please, over this shit. But like to me, and this is just my personal feeling, don't get your fucking panties in a bunch here. But my personal like this is all starting to feel very fucking early 2020 to me.
Yeah. And rapidly.
Yeah, like 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 my kids got a note saying basically like make sure you take everything home for the holiday because we don't know if we're coming back.
Jeez.
Right? Like it's all starting to feel very early 2020 to me, and I don't like it.
Yeah, and right now in California, the mask mandate, was kind of loose, except for in the
Mhm.
Bay Area where the counties basically made everybody wear a mask. Now it's the county-wide. Um, so that's going to be an
There you go.
interesting one, and I wonder if we're headed towards that way.
I don't know. I don't want to put that. I
I
don't want to put that into the air because I
neither
don't
do
think
I.
we need that.
And the girlfriend had, she's supposed to go home with her son who is doing school in the UK, and I don't know if she's going to be getting over there. But anyways, let's move on to it. Hurricanes beat the Red Wings 5-3. I thought I saw Stefan Nason in the highlights here, but Niederreiter with a pair of goals in that victory for Carolina, who get to 41 points on the year. Little feisty one in New Jersey as the Golden Knights beat the Devils 5-3.
Yeah, don't poke the panda. Do not poke the panda.
That just seems like it's going to be a setup to get to him now. I don't know. LA won 4-1 over the Florida Panthers, who also have been going through COVID issues as well. Jonathan Quick did his thing. Freaking Kopitar and effing Dustin Brown get goals for LA. Tampa wins 2-1 over the Senators. Stamkos with his 900th point in the NHL. And
yes, Deuces, he made his list of Buffalo, a team that wouldn't take him, Winnipeg, a team that would not take him, and Tampa Bay, the defending Stanley Cup champions with no cap space. That would be a Vander Kane's no trade list for those that aren't in the chat.
I would be shocked if I'm surprised. It's not Vegas.
Vegas might take him.
I don't know how they get magical.
They wouldn't get cap space either. But he had to give a 3-team list, right? And I thought his 3-team list was. It is what it is.
Now refresh my CBA memory. So if a team goes over the salary cap, excuse me, if a team goes over the salary cap, what's the fine? Is it?
I don't think they can play.
They can't play.
I don't think they can't. You can't ice a non-compliant team, so they'd have to find a way to get compliant, whether it's not skating enough people or whatever. And that's why I think. Last year who was it? Was it Toronto that had to skate shy people?
Vegas had to
Vegas, yeah.
The last game of the season for the Sharks in Vegas last year. I think.
Yeah, I don't think you can play with a non-compliant team. You have to be compliant. You can't ice a non-compliant team.
I'm just.
That's my understanding anyway.
I was just curious if that's possible to do it. And the irony of him getting traded to Vegas, especially since there's a bunch of scouts watching the Sharks or AHL squad. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever happens at this point. I'm done. I know the Sharks are hard up for goals, but I personally am not going to sit here and advocate for that being the solution. I'm just not going to do it. You can be mad at me for that, and that's cool. I don't care.
No,
I mean, there will be people that'll be mad at me for it, and that's fine.
For what?
You're allowed to have your opinion. This show isn't I think that's the one thing that always gets misconstrued, right? This show was never about telling you what to think. It's just me telling you what I think. If you agree with me, great. If you don't, that's cool too. It's a free fucking country. You can think whatever the fuck you want.
We can disagree and still be friends, like Jerk and H
exactly.
said. It's going to be one of those weird. That schedule is going to be interesting. Puck Bomb chiming in with a comment. As a Shark fan, the Sharks Cuda were hungry, impressive to win. The current Sharks look tired and sometimes lazy, in my opinion. Yes, front office has issues. Yes, guys need to step up, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely guys that have to step up. There's definitely this team can play better. We've seen them play better. Mm-hmm. I just want them, and that's the thing, man. If they look we've done plenty of shows after losses, after competitive games,
right? And
my one-man crusade to get us demonetized with all my excessive swearing hasn't really been a thing.
Let's not.
Right? This game, obvious exception. A lot of swearing tonight. My one-man crusade for demonetization continues, and that's why you should always donate to the Venmo and not the super chat.
I'm afraid as to how many swear words we're going to have on Pucknologists on Sunday, because it's just these two games that Jerk and AJ are covering, and AJ wasn't happy going to the game on Tuesday, so look for demonetization coming on Sunday night at 7
Epic
p.m.
demonetization.
So we'll see what happens there. But hey, guess what? Our next game, we know the opponent. It's the Canucks again. The Sharks get 4 days off before they get set to take the Canucks.
Yeah,
I
and
would hope
hopefully,
a
like I
jet
said,
lag Canucks.
hopefully, like the Canucks, a combination of the Sharks probably looking back at this one and justifiably being a little pissed off, and and maybe they stumble and cool off a little bit after the Bruce Boudreau bump wears off, and maybe we get a better game. I hope so.
You hope so. You hope they show up. You hope they have their legs too. You're going to be off 4 days off. I mean, it's probably your longest break before the
Yeah, and
Olympic break.
here's the thing. I'm glad you brought up legs, because I think that's something that the Sharks are going to have just a little bit of trouble with this year, because when you're playing so many young guys, especially guys like Weatherby, like this is his first full pro season,
Right?
and I think he's a guy who I thought Weatherby had a pretty good game. Like he was all around the net tonight. But I think, it was mentioned in the chat earlier, and I don't remember who said it, but I did want to come back to it. Like,
Ricky, I believe.
I think it was Ricky. He said like he's kind of lost a few more board battles than he had previously. And I think, that's going to be a factor for some of these guys. Rookie wall is a thing for a reason, because the NHL schedule is way more intense than what guys are used to playing in college or junior or even in the AHL. Like the AHL schedule is, a little more intense, but it's nothing compares to the NHL schedule.
And
there's nothing to prepare you for the NHL schedule like an NHL schedule.
And compressed this year, So I think that'll do it for us. In case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Of course, hit that notification bell. That'll recognize that when we go online, you get notified to join us and be a part of the show. Don't forget, also on audio, you can also get us on SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and of course, always available at tealtownusa.com. So with that, we will wrap things up and get out of here, my friend. Your final thoughts and where the people can find you.
My final thoughts are, when the Sharks do bad, it's bad. And, did they wear the stealth jerseys? Yep. Good night.
Oh, boy. Yeah, they're 0-4 in the stealth jerseys. Even the Sharks Twitter tweeted out things like, hey, we could really use a win in these jerseys. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, is it the stealth jerseys, or is it the players that are wearing the stealth jerseys? I mean, it's probably the latter. But, like, you know what? I mean, whatever helps you cope with a loss. If it's the stealth jerseys that made them lose tonight, fine. If that's how you cope, that's how you cope. And I'm not. Far be it from me to tell anybody how to cope with this team when it's like this.
Yep. I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. He's at Ian Blogs Hockey on the Twitter machine. Next Sharks game is Tuesday night against the Vancouver Canucks. That's a 7:30 start. But of course, Jerk and AJ will be here to break down the week that was in Sharks hockey, and then some on the Pucknologist Sunday night at 7 p.m. So
it's a base. It's not a guitar. It's a bass.
Should you play us out?
No, hell no.
Okay. Maybe down the road, folks, we'll convince that. Although you see that big smile that Ian has on his face, that's because Martin Jones is falling apart.
I do love that too. Good. The truth be told, like, this has kind of been my, this has been like my, well, everyone did something in the pandemic, right, to like pass time and do whatever, and mine was trying to figure out how to play bass, so I'm okay.
All right.
What am I gonna play? It's a bass. I can't slap or anything. Like, I suck at slapping, and all the cool bass, cool stuff is slapping. Let's be honest.
Well, for Venmo donations over $100, we'll make sure. I'm kidding. So with that, we'll be leaving you. Sharks game we'll be back Tuesday night following Sharks and Canucks. Pucknologist Sunday night at 7 p.m. with Jerk and AJ to break things down. Should be a good one.
Ian does not sing.
Yeah, we don't sing. I think we'll leave that to Felix, if anything. And you could probably do that right now as we head over to the Discord. So until Tuesday night, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. We will see you Pucknologist Sunday night and Tuesday night after dark following the Sharks and Canucks. Good night, everyone.
Merry